Good.
And here we are, guys. Hello again, and welcome to our fourth episode of the Post-Fight Podcast. As always, I'm Ramon, and I'm here with my friend
Treyvon.
Yes, sir. And so we've been out for a while. We had last weekend was my birthday, and then I had my webcam broke, which is why I'm on a different one right now. But we're back, and the structure of this episode will be we're gonna talk about some fights that have already happened, the 2 fight night cards that happened during the week, and then the Woodley thing, just very briefly. And then corner stoppages, we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to preview the upcoming fights. But before Treyvon wants to make a comment on...
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I'm pretty sure everybody here knows about the social issues going on. I'm here to make a really quick statement. And that is Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter does not mean all lives do not matter. And if you guys have a misunderstanding of the situations at hand, it is very important for you to educate yourself and understand why people are mad or angry, and the whole world is dealing with these problems. But besides from that, let's get back into the fights. Yes, and we'll start off with the Gilbert Burns and Tyron Woodley fight from last week. Mm-hmm. So I guess in my sense, I have to say, I've been a Woodley, I don't say hater, because I can't say I hate on any fighter, but I've been very critical of Woodley for years and years and years and years. I guess, okay, the first thing I'll say, and it's very important, not all champions are created equal, okay? So, fighters who have one defense or who have had, for example, to me, Robert Whitaker as a champion is so much better than Tyron Woodley as a champion. Not even in terms of pure fighting ability, but in resume, because his ability, his championship wins and his performances are just so much better than Woodley's. And Woodley as a fighter is just it's so annoying, and he's a nothing fighter, and not saying nothing as in he's nothing as a person, but he's a do nothing fighter. He does not, he just kills all exchanges and slows it down to a nothing pace, mm-hmm. and wins off of a few shots per round, and it's just horrific to watch. And the thing is, it's not smart to do that, because there are fighters who can match him athletically, and when they can match him athletically, they can put on a pace and just blow him out of the water. Because if you're not keeping a pace, what's stopping the other person from putting a pace on you? Right. If you want to slow a pace down, you have to be able to do that through easy example. Do consistent but dangerous counters. Woodley doesn't throw consistent counters. He's dangerous counter puncher, yes, but he's not a consistent counter puncher. He'll throw just in every little at every little interval, just to keep you honest, just to let you know that, okay, I got a person in front of me trying to knock me out. But Woodley doesn't attack. He doesn't attack in spots like how good slow pace fighters do. He just attacks. I'm gonna say he doesn't even attack. He just kills exchanges. You know what I mean? He has the ability to do good stuff. Woodley's not. I'm not gonna say he's a bad fighter. Clearly, he's not a bad fighter. Mm-hmm. But his game is just predicated on you being scared of him. To be honest with you, it's really just predicated on you being scared of him, respecting him way more than you should. Right. And also, all of his title defenses that came from either really good matchups for him or against people that are scared of him. The Stephen Thompson fight. Stephen Thompson fought really bad in those 2 fights, man. He should have been more active. I know he had to worry about Woodley's power. Obviously, he had to worry about Woodley's power. But being active, he would have took big leads on Woodley. And Woodley would have had a hard time coming back into the fight. It would have gassed him out. It would have made him work more than he wanted to. It would have done so much more for him. Maya was never going to beat Woodley. I love me some Maya. I love me some Maya a lot. But he never was going to beat Woodley, so that in itself was never going to happen. And Woodley still fought a terrible fight in that fight. If you're fighting a guy who can't hurt you or do anything offensively to you, you take the fight to him and finish him, get him out of there, beat him up. Woodley just sat around and did nothing for the fight against Maya, just a terrible performance. And then in the Till fight, the finish kind of masks the first round. Nothing happened in the first round at all. Right. They both sat at each other. Till just sat at him, just looking at him. And then in the second round, when Till burst through range, Woodley landed a really nice counter and was able to get a finish off of that counter, which is good. But again, Woodley's a nothing fighter. In his Usman fight, he did nothing. In this fight against Gilbert Burns, he did nothing. Just nothing. So Woodley as a fighter, his game is predicated on like a lot of assumptions that just should not be there.
Right.
Like assuming that people should be afraid of you. Working against southpaws who will lunge through distance and you have easy access to your right hand. Like all of that stuff is just really, really not applicable when you're fighting good fighters who know how to implement a smart game plan. And that's what Gilbert Burns did. Like Gilbert Burns' performance was really good. Like even a few things he did really shocked me and I was impressed. Like I want to see Gilbert Burns fight more fighters. Not a title shot, give that to my man Leon. But I want to see Gilbert Burns do good in the division. I really like what I saw from Gilbert Burns, and I really like his progression over the years. Like after he got knocked out by Dan Hooker, I just kind of didn't think none of him. I thought he was just going to be like another reasonable top 15 guy, maybe around there.
Right.
But he's got him. He's implemented his game a lot better over the years. He's tied his game together. I really like it. But like I say, that's about all I have to say about the fight. I'm sorry I didn't get to say much about Gilbert, but Willie
Well, for one, I was, if I could piggyback off, first I want to piggyback off of what you said with regards to Woodley, and then I want to transition briefly into my thoughts on Gilbert Burns. We're trying to cover a lot here today, so we're going to be brief as we can. But basically, I agree with you. Woodley has always been a very timid fighter, and I'm not speaking necessarily to what his mindset might or might not be. I'm not a mind reader. I don't know, but you can read in the activity flow in his body language almost how at least he's choosing to fight, the decisions he makes, right? He will ride on the slimmest of leads for like a very long time. Like one of the most frustrating things for me to watch was the Damian Maia fight where he was very clear. I think he landed something early on and broke Damian Maia's orbital or something, and then he tore his labrum and used that as an excuse for why he stuffed every single one of Damian Maia's takedowns and then did nothing with it. But it's like, that's not that level of activity is not very different from your other, some of your other wins. And so it gets on my nerves too. But I believe that actually has to do with, like you said, assumptions, like false presumptions that people have when they fight him, which he relies on to win, that they should not have. Because, and to speak on the technical particulars of his game, which contradict those presumptions, I cannot remember a fight in the UFC in which Woodley put together a good combination. And if you listen to his corner, what's his name? Dean Thomas is always asking for him to move forward with combinations, but Woodley doesn't throw those very often. What does Woodley's arsenal consist of? Typically, he'll wait for you to come in and then throw the hard overhand right, or he'll take it to you and throw the hard overhand right. He also looks for those counters, but he's not a combination puncher, right? He's someone who hits hard and who relies on you being, like you said, worried about that overhand right coming. Like how he knocked out Robbie Lawler with the title, and that one did not age well. The counter he landed in Darren Till when I think Darren Till threw like a lead uppercut. You know what I mean? And then what did he catch? It was an overhand right or a right? What was it? It was
another I believe it was a right hand.
He threw a right hand. He caught him score with the right hand. And so what are his and that forms the basis of his activity. He does do certain things kind of well, like or not do certain things kind of well. He's not a bad fighter, so obviously he has things he does well, right? When given the opportunity, like wait against the fence for you to kind of commit to something, and then like he did to one boy running on a takedown where he'll dive on your hips, or when you come toward him against the fence, it's not a pull counter, but it's kind of like you come in and I'm gonna throw that right hand. How he caught Till, but where his vulnerabilities lie is like. And it's interesting because he trains with Ben Askren, right? Whom he said in the wrestling has constantly outscrambled him, just in the pure wrestling. So you'd think he'd be better at this, but he's very uncomfortable in the upper body clench. You will see him sit there and do absolutely nothing. Like he'll do fuck all in the upper body clench. It's like Chael Sonnen said, you could hear a rat piss on cotton. You know what I mean? Like if the level of activity could be visualized in sound, it would be dead silent. Like that's why I remember thinking, oh, he's going to murder Kamaru Usman. And then around into that fight, I knew it wasn't going to happen because you could see his vulnerabilities, right? Like he circles on the fence and he gets extremely uncomfortable when pressured against the fence. So what is his response? It's to sit down and bite down on the hard overhand right, which someone's going to move into. And it plants your feet, right? So someone's going to move into, clinch with you and put you in the fence where you will do what he does nothing. Or he does this weird thing when people move in on him. Like I said, like he did against Wonderboy. Well, when you come in, he ducks in. He changes levels and ducks in. Not knee to mat, but just bend at the hip and ducks in for a double leg. And then he gets stuck. And that's in the past few fights of his where I see his game kind of staying. Even against Till, it was come in, throw the right hand, frame off like this, push away, and reset. And and you saw with Gilbert Burns, it was like Woodley's also a fighter who seems to me kind of like in a similar vein to BJ Penn. When have you seen BJ Penn come back from in a fight? You really don't. You know what I'm saying? These are not fighters who are resilient in the face of severe odds, and I don't know what that is. Maybe they get fatigued or something like that, but they're not resilient in the face of extreme adversity early on. I mean, he threw an overhand, he threw a right hand, he came to Gilbert. Gilbert countered, I believe, with the right hand of his own. I don't know if it landed or not. I don't remember, but I do remember that in the clinch, Gilbert spammed a couple of uppercuts, and one of them.
That right hand landed.
Did the right hand landed? Okay, and then he dropped him.
I think that's what cut him.
Right, he dropped him with an uppercut, and that was really the end of his output. You can see Woodley sort of corralling himself into confidence again with the clapping, but like I said, his game. I don't know who made this comment. I don't remember where I read it, but it was Woodley's recent losses are a study in pattern recognition, right? Maybe it was something you tweeted, and I saw a notification on Twitter. I don't check Twitter, use Twitter, but yeah, I think. Not only, like you said, are there false assumptions people have, they're false because they're not actually substantiated by the things he does, which is a very limited set of techniques. It's a overhand counter, getting stuck against the fence, and having a couple things he does to deal with people corralling to the fence. It's that overhand and then the duck into a takedown, which doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off a while. Like about the presumptions opponents have. That happens a lot to fighters, and it screws them up so bad, man. Mm-hmm. Like like a really easy example again is like Dustin against Khabib. People fight Khabib terrified of his like takedowns, but he not say mandatory, but his game is so much predicated on the cage and pressing you back to the cage that you don't necessarily even have to be that worried about him in an open space. Khabib isn't going to be ducking under your punches like that and hitting counter takedowns. Mm-hmm. That's not his game. That's not what he does. Mm-hmm. When people think of like fighters, a lot of times it's their assumption of what they can do than anything. Like somebody was, you'll hear somebody with like the credentials of a D1 wrestler, right? Mm-hmm. And people just think, oh my God, he has the best last double of all time. But like, what if his game is just defending takedowns? You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about him.
When does Romero
shooting on your leg?
When does Romero rely
on wrestling? Or you know, like you hear somebody with like a great striker, right? Mm-hmm. But like, what if their game, they're terrible at range? You know what I mean? They're just really good in the pocket. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so terrified of striking with them in general. Mm-hmm. But you might have an advantage somewhere, even within their specialty. And that's about like with Tyron Woodley's game is predicated on, oh my gosh, he's such a scary, hard-hitting counterpuncher, and it's slightly true enough to where you can believe it fully. You know what I mean? Like
he hits hard.
Yes, he hits hard. He's smart with his counters. He knows how to time them well. They're timed really well when he throws them. Obviously, they have a really good effect when he throws them. But it's not a tangible threat throughout a whole fight. It's really not. Like, unless you're terrible defensively, if you're any sort of reasonable top 10 level fighter at welterweight, you should be able to handle that. You know what I mean? Like, his takedown game is really solid, but if you're any reasonable level of fighter, you should be able to handle that. It's not that, like, his game is just so scary and overpowering.
Sure.
When he's not doing those things, he's borderline not doing anything. Like, against good slow-paced fighters, they fill that space with feints. They'll be moving around smartly. He really doesn't move around smartly. He's just on the cage the whole time.
Yeah, and you can
good slow-paced fighters.
Sorry to cut you off. You could see Burns drawing out the counter from Woodley and then hitting with a blast double.
Exactly. Yes, I mean, that was excellent. I love that.
It was beautiful. Like
good slow-paced fighters, they fill the space with actual like threats. They'll feint. Sure. They'll move around so you have to reposition with them. They'll put little baby shots out there just to make you respect the space. Like good slow-paced fighters, they're active. They're really active. Bad slow-paced fighters, they just sit there and don't do anything, and they make you afraid of their implied threats. Like Tyron Woodley, a very important thing. When Tyron Woodley loses, every single last one of his losses, especially all of them in the UFC, are super ugly and or one-sided. Like the only loss that wasn't like one-sided was the Jake Shields fight, and he probably won that fight, but it was still an ugly, sloppy fight.
Yeah.
But then all the other losses in the UFC, super one-sided. He just gets annihilated. Like, it's because when you can burst through his game, dare I say, if you're a good fighter, it's easy to beat him. I don't want to use the word easy like in the sense of like, you know, like it's easy for anybody to beat him or easy. Like you have to work for it, obviously.
Right.
Yes, clear as death. Like, and the thing is too, he can be beat in so many different ways. Even if you can get through his activity, get through his baseline level of athleticism and skill set, you can beat him in so many different ways. You can clinch style him. You can outstrike him from range. You can rough him up in all kinds of ways. It's ridiculous, man. Like, like the fear of Tyron Woodley and probably like the championship cachet that he has on his name makes people put more respect on him than they should. And that happens to a lot of people. People put like too much respect on Anderson Silva's game, put too much respect on John Jones, put too much respect on even people that deserve respect, like Aldo and GSP and DJ. When you actually when you work with these guys and the spaces they don't want to work in, it'll do good. I'm not saying that's obviously hard as hell. Like it's not be like, oh yeah, man, I'm just gonna fight DJ and like beat him. Like you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But like if people are weak in areas, exploit that. You know what I mean? And it's hard to see that obviously, but Tyron Woodley, man, like his fights are just they're not fun in any way. No. Not in a technical way, not in an analyst way, and especially not in an entertaining way.
Yeah, and excuse me, and it's annoying to watch him get frustrated that people criticize him too. It's like it was boring, man. What do you want me to do? I didn't like that. It was boring. I was bored as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like you were trying things. You were not trying to utilize a variety of different angles or attacks that just were being denied to you. It was you had a very one-note option. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't there. Why? It's annoying. We could talk about it for a whole time, but you can see. I really like this whole people getting over the false pretenses under which certain fighters enter fights against specific opponents and executing valid game plans, like Garbrandt versus Cruz, matrix footwork, all that stuff. And he did have a lot of good looks. We talked at length about him last episode, but you can see Garbrandt saying, no, there are ways to, like, there's an answer to every question in MMA. Every style has a vulnerability. That's just the limits of the human body. There's no guard that protects your whole body and all that stuff. So you can watch Garbrandt just totally denied Cruz the angles he wanted and stuff his entire game and put on an absolute fucking clinic against him. What's another example of that? Rosnama Yunus versus Ioane and Jacek. It was like, no, I'm not going to play your game. Like feints you're going to swing in air. I'm going to feint at you until I can land. You know what I mean? And then examples where it don't. Not that Overeem wouldn't have gotten, starched by Ngannou eventually, but you can see Overeem fight against Ngannou as though he cannot be hit. Right? Like he threw these wild looping punches instead of straights and stuff like he was throwing at Stipe Miocic. Whereas Miocic is like, there is a path to victory here that I can follow, and while it will be hard, it's possible. I'm not going to get preoccupied with this hardest hitting Ford F-150, whatever, in the left hand. Honda Civic, I forget. Right hand. Yeah, whatever it was. In the right hand. You know what I mean? And
Hiroshima bomb.
Yes, that. Oh boy. But I see what you're saying. For the sake of brevity, I think we should move on to the next fight. But I think our opinions. And I want to say, because we didn't get enough chance to touch up on it because of the outrage. Congratulations to Gilbert Burns. He has come like leaps and miles. Yes. Yeah, since yes. And I was impressed. Just overall with his decision making, his boldness to take the center of the octagon. He Woodley. I mean, he did good. Congrats. I don't think he deserves to be number one contender, but top 5. You know what I'm saying? Very good. Exactly. Yeah. So now moving on.
Okay, I'm sorry. Last point. Last point. Yeah, Woodley being ranked above Leon Edwards is a crime. It's disgusting. But okay, next point.
They were supposed to fight. You can't blame Leon or anything. You can't blame the series of events for occurring that took Leon out of that fight. But
no. I'm just saying he shouldn't be ranked above him. That's it. Woodley being ranked above Leon is just
right.
Whatever.
Right.
But on to the next point.
Matchmakers are awful. Okay, Antonina versus Caitlin Chukagian. So I'm gonna rant about this. I'm sure Treyvon will have some. Nothing look, I am by no means a professional at any aspect of combat sports. Treyvon himself is, while very skilled, still an amateur, but it should not be the case that I can look at a professional combat athlete and in any area of their game that is vital to survival in an octagon think I could have escaped that. Okay, I think on our notes for on our podcast notes that we did on our Google Doc that we shared, I put entry level white belt problems as my marker for Antonina Shevchenko's issues. So for me, 2 issues with Antonina Shevchenko in this fight against Caitlin Chukagian. 1, very bad decision making. Why do you open up with straight kicks or kicks period, naked kicks against someone whose game plan was going to be to take you down, at least by default, considering that your striking is better than hers. If you could not have worked that out on your own initially, after round 1, it became obvious to you and your corner that she's going to grab you and smother you on the ground. So do not open with front kicks. She threw an axe kick, and Michael Bisping, someone in the commentary booth praised her and said, "Wow, that was an axe kick. How theatrical." But then Michael Bisping said, "To be honest with you, it's just bad decision making because you're lifting your leg in the air, it loses momentum, and then you are relying on your hamstring strength to lower it. It's like an Andy Hug technique." you're going to get that caught over someone's shoulder and they're going to bundle you over. It's not a good technique. You know what I'm saying? So bad decision making, opening up with naked kicks, coming relatively slowly against someone who's going to grab them and take you down. And then once you're on the ground, you showed like no signs of being able to deal with the top pressure. There are so many instances where I'm thinking you could escape here if you just didn't accept this being inside your guard. If instead of doing what you're doing, you hip escape, you create a scramble. Like there are so many instances, and I always see this in female MMA and at like heavyweight, where people on the bottom just don't know how to deal with being on the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And it's extremely frustrating to me to watch her, and even like Jermaine Durand to me. Like there's so many ways you can get up here, like the underhook, the Randy Couture / the one that I always get Darce doing. You have half guard, you stick the underhook, you get up on your elbow, and you use that to stand up. You know what I'm saying? Underhook on the same side as the half guard. There's a lot of ways you can get to your feet that Anthony Shevchenko seemed to not know how to do, which to me is remarkable because you are a professional MMA fighter. You can learn those things by like if you grapple at all and then you watch people do that and in the UFC just online, the mechanics of those movements make sense to you just by virtue of you understanding grappling at like a competent level.
And I also say like, okay, like it's always really like gets me in a weird way. Like when you're training like with a bunch of like high level people, right? Like this is the reason why like super gyms are actually really successful. You're gonna get better just through like contact with them. Like
sure,
you're gonna like you're gonna learn through practice. Like you might not like understand why, you might not like deeply get what you're doing, but you're just gonna get better just kind of through forcing yourself to get better.
Absolutely.
Like Valentina, her sister, right, is a really good fighter. I mean, I don't know if they train together. I would assume they do.
They should.
Like Valentina, like wouldn't some of Valentina's skill rub up on you just a little bit? I'm not expecting her to be better than Valentina. Valentina might have a better mind for it, more athleticism. I don't know, but like she just is like really lacking in her groundwork, and I would just assume that like I don't know who she's training with or training. It's really confusing. I don't really have.
Yeah,
you can go on that. I'm confused.
In Valentina's last fight, she dominated and finished Caitlin Chukagian on the ground. Say what you want about her activity rate or her being 1-0 with the check lift, whatever. She took her down and passed her guard, put her in a crucifix and finished her. And then in this next fight, although as you want to comment on Caitlin Chukagian wasn't capable of finishing Antonina, it was striking to watch the difference. You know, and I guess you cannot be so surprised because like athleticism may run in the family. You know what I'm saying? But it isn't necessarily the case that two people are going to understand grappling or specific skills the same. For example, Valentine Overeem, Alistair Overeem. Valentine had a much less successful career than Alistair.
And then fighting a lot. I mean, it's really corny, but a lot of fighting is mental and like how you perceive it and like your basic philosophies of what you're doing and like maybe her just maybe Antonina's read on fighting is just bad, way worse than Valentina's. You know what I mean? Or maybe her training method. I don't know, man. It's really confusing. I mean, I don't know. I had to probably like be around them to understand.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Didn't you want to comment on Caitlin Chukagian's inability to finish?
Oh no, yeah. Like a very important part of fighting is finishing, and not even just the specific act of finishing, but like at least to be able to put threats of finishing, and that's partially why Tyron Woodley's so scary because he has actually a threat of finishing. But like when you don't finish people, you put them in, you give them so much room to stay in a fight they shouldn't be in. Like Caitlin Chukagian is way better than Antonina Shevchenko as a fighter.
Absolutely.
And then she's so much better. She shouldn't be in there with her. Like Antonina shouldn't be in there with her. When Caitlin Chukagian had Mount in these dominant positions, she should have been getting that Antonina out of there. She should have been finishing the fight.
For sure.
It allowed Antonina to stay into the third round and do a little bit better, put some shots on Caitlin that she shouldn't have been taking.
Right.
Get a little bit of offense that she shouldn't have been given. Like being able to finish a fight protects you. Like if I'm so much better than somebody, when I get them out of there, I'm like the fight's over. Duh. Like I don't have to take any more damage. Like having finishing threats helps out in so many different ways. Right. Like Caitlin Chukagian isn't a finishing threat, which is just a little bit dangerous for her. Mm-hmm. It's gonna stop people from respecting her punches or her kicks or her offensive work if there's no threat. Like people respond to threats. Like when you have somebody mounted for a whole round and can't even really like hurt them, that's a problem. You know what I mean? Like the fight should be done. Right. If you have somebody mounted for a whole round, that should be the fight. or again, at the very least, bust them up. They're hurt. They're bad. You just beat them up for the whole round. Like the fight should be changed in a way that you always will win. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying.
But like,
if it doesn't get stopped, it should not be on you. It should be on the toughness of the fighter or the referee. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Antonina, she was like, she didn't take that much damage. Not like that. She didn't really take that much damage in the fight. She got scratched up. She got dominated, but she was just kind of fine. Like, having finishing ability is so important, man. Like, I'm not expecting her to be a one-punch knockout artist, but like, you have to build yourself and learn how to put damaging strikes on people. It'll make their life a whole lot easier, like a whole lot easier as a fighter.
Fair. Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you said, and it was another really annoying performance. I before these two fights happened, I was watching them with someone, and I leaned over to him and I said, expect Woodley to attempt overhand rights, get stuck on the fence, and maybe land one of them, and expect Anthony Shevchenko to either put on a rangy kickboxing performance or get Roxanne Modafferi again, and the worst outcome for both those two fighters of the predictions I made occurred. So yeah, I guess we can now move on to the next couple, I guess, instances of things happening on this fight card. Well, I guess one thing. There were some great ass fights on this card. I really enjoyed the Spike Carlisle versus Quarantillo, whatever his name was, fight. Nothing.
It was funny.
It was funny. Nothing. We'll have a meme for you guys with that one with our faces on it. You probably have already seen it by the time this video is edited. But I really just want to talk about Mackenzie Dern. Yeah, I mean, great finishing ability if she can get that 50-50 and then spin onto her stomach on the leg. But what's the woman who fought her? I don't know her name.
Hannah Cyphers?
Yeah, Cyphers, thank you. Knew something like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it got to the ground again. Did Mackenzie Dern pull guard?
I forget too. I need to check. But I know. I think she probably tripped her or fell or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, she just stood over her in guard, just hanging out, like, back away, please. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, disengage from the position.
That's my thing. If you're going to get someone who wants you in that position for some reason, and you don't have either an answer for their intentions for either. Like, I was watching the tough season, Europe versus USA, coached by McGregor and Faber, where Ryan Hall was on against some guy named Saul or something like that. I don't know, Saul something.
Saul Rogers.
Yeah. And you could see that he didn't hang out there, but he had an answer for the 50-50 position that Ryan Hall kept trying to put him in. He would control the leg, separate them, push them down, and flee. Right? Like, if you don't have an answer or a goal, it's either or, right? Or both. You need to flee. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I can withstand that pressure and like what's the guy's name who stuffed Husamar Palmares' everything?
Alan Belcher.
Belcher, yeah. He knew how to escape those positions. He did, and then he finished him with ground and pound from the top. You know what I'm saying? And that was his goal, or at least that was his competence there. And if you don't have a goal from there, you need to flee and take it back to where you're winning. You know what I mean? And that's sort of the goal-oriented interpretation to positions in MMA. It's like, if it's obviously very hard to do in the moment, but like if you could push pause in the position you're standing in and ask yourself, what is it I'm trying to achieve here, and does this represent a failure to achieve that, or me putting myself in a position where there's nothing to be achieved? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I can't get to where I'm trying to get, that's one thing. But am I just hanging out here for no reason, trying to decide what to do? Don't stand in those positions because you're giving your opponent time to implement their intentions. That's what I think. Like, it kind of looked like she was grabbing legs or I don't know what she was doing, but she was moving. She wasn't just staying still, but her location within the cage was obviously stagnant, but she was doing things with her body. It almost looked like she was trying to make up her mind as to what to do there, when if you don't have that, you don't have time to make a decision, just back away, like you said. It was a cool finish from Mackenzie Dern, and she tried to push.
I love me some leg locks, yeah.
Me too. I love it when I see those MMA. I like it when I see those MMA, and I was really disappointed when Michael Johnson got finished by that one guy with a straight ankle.
It's Michael Johnson. It's Michael Johnson. Like, you can't expect you can't expect anything else. Like,
put on a great performance, get finished in a stupid way.
You can't expect. Yes, it's that simple. Yeah.
But I was annoyed because it's like he put him in there's a million names for this: Ashigarami, single leg X, leg whatever. It's the thing where you don't reap the lead knee, but you put your same side knee on between their legs, then bring on the outside, and your heel's on their hip basically, and the other one's inside clamping. What you do is you peel off that heel and the hip from your hip like this, and then you stack in or step out. You know what I'm saying? That's how you defend the single leg X. And then he wasn't doing that, and I was like, this is such basic. Like, this isn't difficult things to know. It just shows that leg locks don't have a place in MMA yet. But I'm always excited to see when in the UFC fights are getting finished by leg lock, because you're going to elevate them to the position of prominence in the sport. So I'm always excited to see leg lock finishes, because they can be powerful if you apply them correctly. But yeah, that was my comment on Mackenzie Dern. Do you have anything else to say about that?
No, that's about it.
All right, so yeah, we can kind of move on to our statements on corner stoppages. I was brief introduction. We can play off each other. But in the past month, MMA fans have had to bear witness to some like really egregious instances of negligence, or I guess letdown by the corners of MMA fighters at the highest level of fighting in octagon. The obvious two examples would be Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje, Anthony Smith
and Glover and Anthony Smith.
And then Treyvon had more to say on this one, but it was Chris Gutierrez versus Vince Morales, which was on the undercard of this most recent of Woodley versus Burns. So if you want to get into that, we can just work our way up from there.
No, yeah. Okay, so it's okay. First things first. When we discussed the Tony and Gaethje fight and the Teixeira and Smith fight, it's really easy to see like head trauma, and like obviously that's way more important than any other trauma in a fight. It's really easy to see head trauma and be like, man, you have to stop the fight. And yeah, you should stop the fight. It's head trauma. It's bad. They need to fight more. They need to save them so they can fight more and get more money and all that things. But like in the Morales and Gutierrez fight, so after the first round, it was extremely clear that Morales could not win the fight. Right. He wasn't taking really much head damage. He was taking like a lot of leg damage, and he could not stand. Like you probably would think, okay, he's not taking any head damage. He's not taking any anything that'll like leave him. I'll say, well, leg damage can't leave you permanently damaged, but nothing nothing as terrible as like brain trauma.
It's debilitating in the head.
But yeah, but the thing about the fight, like when you're taking that much leg damage, you can't win the fight. Like there's no avenue for you to win. Like if you can't push off to strike, if you can't push off for takedowns, if you can't enter the clinch, if you can't defend yourself, the main thing, if you can't do these things to protect yourself because your leg is so beat up you can barely move, the fight, there's no reason to have the fight. Like, I mean, there's no reason for you to be fighting anymore. Your corner has to stop it. At the end of the first round, I was like, okay, like I knew it wasn't gonna happen, but I was like, his corner should stop it. There's no reason for him to be out there. If you're taking that much damage to a body part that disables you, you can then start to take damage everywhere else and get hurt. Now, Morales was lucky that, well, I'm gonna say lucky because it sucks for him, but he took more leg damage and that's what ended the fight. But Gutierrez would have had a much easier time getting to him, to the head or to the body or to other places, and that would have been very, very, very dangerous for Morales. Like, if Gutierrez, I don't know how good he is as a wrestler, but if he would have shot on him, he probably could have gotten him down easy and beat him up from the top. Like, there's a lot of bad things that could have compounded just off the simple fact that, like, your corner is not protecting you because you can't defend yourself. Like,
Absolutely.
if your leg is that disabled, it's opening you up for a lot of bad things in the future. And like, I'll get onto another side point that's really important. Most of the damage, like getting dominated is different than getting like damage taken on you. So like when the Antonina and Chikagian fight, never once did I think that fight should have been stopped. Like no. Antonina was getting dominated, but she wasn't taking any damage that made it like fearful. Like right. It wasn't like I was like, oh my goodness, Antonina's like getting brutalized. Like she can't come back into this fight. She was perfectly fine in the third round. She was throwing hard. She was trying to win the fight because Chikagian didn't put that much damage on her. Another reason why putting damage on people is important. That way they can't fight back. But yeah, Gutierrez just annihilated Morales' legs, and Morales could barely stand. He could barely throw. He couldn't even check the kicks after a while. He was reacting hard on every single kick that Gutierrez was feinting at him because he was so damaged. And like when it gets to that point, your fighter can't win. So you have to stop the fight for your fighter.
100% agree. It would be like he got caught in a heel hook. The ACL got torn. You know what I mean? And then we didn't plan this, but this makes me think. Do you think that the Maheta versus Bones Jones should have been stopped because he tore every ligament in his knee?
he did. He tore every ligament, but we didn't know at the time. Obviously, his knee was buckling and it looked really bad. But in the moment, he was still fighting back. He was still moving. He was still hitting Jones with hard shots. Like, and on the real, he was confident. Yeah, he was confident. And then on the real, like he probably should have won that fight. So like he could have been the champion with the torn ACL. So like overall, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in hindsight, it makes it a little bit like, oh snap. You know what I mean? But like he was fighting. He was defending himself. And again, like he probably won. So I mean. The man won the world title with a torn everything.
Yeah, Jones keeps getting really lucky with his judging, but not really. Just we can get into that all day, but yeah, I agree with you, man. It would be like if I rolled the wrong way out of a heel hook, it popped. Mark Goddard didn't see, and then I rolled the correct way. You let it go because like Vinny Magalhaes versus the Australian guy. I always forget his name.
Craig Jones.
Thank you. I know Lachlan Jones. I always forget Craig Jones' name. But I mean, he put him in he heel hooked him, and his ACL something in his knee popped, and he kept trying to go. It's like you've lost. It's like if I remove two of the wheels from your car, why do you keep driving it? It's not going to work anymore. Mm-hmm. You're missing something there. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. That should have been stopped. If I'm in your corner and you're limping because your legs are and every time you get kicked in the leg, you fly to the side. I'm like, no, I'm not. This guy's got he's got a life to live. He's got a fight to come to next few months. We're not going to take the head trauma. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We're going to throw the.
And we'll tie that into the Smith and Teixeira and Ferguson and Gagey fights. Yeah, like they actually did take the head trauma, and their corners didn't stop the fight, which is
corners failed them.
Unacceptable to be honest. Yeah, it's unacceptable to be honest with you. And especially like in the Smith's case, he was like defending his corner, saying it was okay and all that. Like. Smith took like 2 extra rounds of unneeded punches for no reason, man. Like no reason at all.
Yeah.
Just yes. Like think about it. Like he got finished all the same. He would have got finished if they would have stopped it. He got finished regardless. He took extra damage for no reason.
Yeah.
He took extra trauma for no reason. His teeth got knocked out for no reason. Like the corner has to stop the fight. Like it's like, why are you keeping your guy out there for no reason at all? Like it's not like. Utterly no reason. And I always say, even if they do hit that insanely improbable and miracle comeback finish, I don't even think it's worth it. Like, would it be like if Smith would have knocked Teixeira out in the 5th round, or if Tony would have knocked out Gagey in the 5th round, would it have been worth it? I don't really think so. It would have been a really cool story. It would have looked really nice. It would have been like, oh wow, what a crazy comeback. That's amazing.
Right.
But like, would it actually have been worth it in the long term? You know what I mean?
When you're eating through a tube. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know. Yeah. Well, or even and then even just in the next fight, he took damage for no reason for his next fight, and then fight after that, and then etc. After that.
Well, like you were saying, just to speak some for our audience to know, like I guess some more factual parts of this. It's the fight took a turn in round 3 where he got tired and Glover Teixeira started to have his way with him. At 3 minutes and 37 seconds of round 4, he hands Jason Herzog his teeth. And Herzog puts him in his pocket. And got stopped at 3:57 of round 5. So, in my opinion, when your teeth are falling out, your teeth are not in your mouth anymore. You know what I'm saying? And you are clearly not defending yourself competently at all. Like it's just your will not to be finished that's keeping you in the fight. When like I've seen fights stop for less. You know what I'm saying? I've seen fights stop for Ion Kudalawa versus
that's a bad stoppage, though.
It's a bad stoppage, but you see my point. Like that's sort of an extreme example. Let me think of something else. Dominic Cruz versus Henry Cejudo. There's the availability heuristic at work. That's a recency bias, but you know what I'm saying. It's stopped for way less. Like Anthony Smith is a compromised fighter, and him defending is just him being Anthony Smith. He's just Lionheart, whatever you want to say. His nickname represents about him. You got that fighter mentality. They fight for a living. Like if Anthony Smith thought it was a wise idea to stop, he would have tapped. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't surprise me that he came out in defense of his corner. I think he came out in such stern defense of his corner that he went so far as to claim he would have fired someone for having stopped it. It's like, thank God. I don't know. It's just I don't want to be rude and say anything out of turn, but that's such a foolish thing to say. Someone who would have stopped you would have been showing you extreme compassion and saving you from going home to your small children looking like Frankenstein. On the topic of looking like Frankenstein, Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. We went over this last week, but this to me it sparks the, I guess, initial blaze, because it's not of our our problem with corners and not stopping the fight. I took down a series of notes over this because it was no one as far as I've consumed MMA media, I could be wrong because I'm a moderate consumer of MMA news and stuff like that. I don't particularly like all the talking, but as far as I know, no one made a big deal out of the commentary coming out of Tony Ferguson's corner, not between rounds, but during the fight in rounds 4 and 5, during which I think a lot of people think it could have been stopped. Let's see here. So you will hear things in round 4. I believe at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, you'll hear things like, let's get that, or not, forget the timestamp, but you'll hear things like, let's get that right hand up after being absolutely clogged. You see it. I know you see it, Tony, after being stumbled and rocked. You might think that's somewhat reasonable, right? Because the 3rd round just went away from him. It's not too bad. But then you hear like bizarre things, like Tony gets hit with 2 clean shots, and then Justin Gaethje shoves him away, and I think he almost hits he gets shoved out of the black line. I don't remember if he hits the fence or not. And then I don't know who. There's like one guy whose voice is repeatedly shouting these asinine things. He says, "Yes, Tony, let's go." Like let's go. Continue eating. I don't get it. But then this is where it got extremely concerning. Plenty of examples if you want to look in round 5 at 1 minute and 59 seconds. He takes a hard right hook or an overhand right from Justin Gaethje, who then shifts into a left hook and throws it, and they both land really hard. And Tony Ferguson is just he's wobbled beyond losing equilibrium. You know, it looks like his soul's about to leave his body. And you can hear his corner saying, "Give it back to him, Tony." Right? This is a struggling fighter. It looks like a dying animal. And his corner, you can listen to the commentary. It's just one guy. It's like some raspy white guy screaming, "Give it back to him, Tony!" Like, what is he going to give back to him? His soul? His life? He's in there losing. There is no sign of an offensive fighter in that octagon anymore other than Justin Gaethje. Like, and then at 1 minute 29, just before, I think he gets jabbed, and then they say, "Come on." Yeah. The finishing sequence at 1 minute 29 in round 5, which was that jab that sent Tony stumbling backwards, shaking his head, trying to not to lose consciousness. The commentary coming out of the most vocal member of Tony Ferguson's coaching staff was, "Come on, Tony. Look, you are corralling a person who has shown no sign of offensive competency in this fight for 12 and a half minutes to keep taking damage. If you are, my message to MMA corners would be, if you care, which I'm assuming most of them do, about your fighter, right? And you have any ideological leanings towards dying on your shield, whatever, not giving up, being a warrior at heart, please dispense of those and save your fighter from like certain carnage when those moments present themselves. You are doing them way more of a favor than by letting them go out on their shield. Do not allow your fighters to take long-term brain damage for the sake of adhering to some stupid live and die by the sword ideological ethic. It's not worth it. It's just so far from worth it. That's what I have to say. And you agree. So.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Whew. So there's our comment on corners and everything that's happened so far as we have time to cover it. Now, we've got about 30 minutes left, so let's get into the UFC 250 fights. We're going to start at the top, so you can start, Treyvon, with some comments on Spencer versus Nunez.
I guess I'll start off with the easy point in that women's featherweight isn't a division at all, really, and like I don't it's just weird to me that they still have fights there. Like, I don't know, like it just is a weird. Like, it's for a main event. Again, I respect both of the women. They're not bad fighters at all, but like for a main event caliber fight for a division that doesn't even really exist, it's just kind of like feels like a placeholder. Like, but yeah, the division is just weird. There's no division. So outside of that, though, like, I don't mind Amanda Nunez's game. I think she's actually pretty darn good as a fighter. She's not like deep or anything, but she's respectable. And Spencer, I don't mind Spencer. She has a clear idea what she wants to do, and she does that. And she's really tough. You can always respect toughness. I like toughness in fighters. But again, like, I just kind of feel like this is kind of like a showcase for Nunez, really. Like, I think she's just gonna beat up on Spencer. Spencer doesn't have. Yeah, I mean, like, Amanda Nunez fights are like, oh, would she kill her in the first round or the second round or the third? Like, okay, so I'll just to make things spicy, gonna try to think of it in ways that Spencer can win. And I think almost all of them are predicated on her getting her ass whooped and surviving it. I don't think Spencer has anything in her skill set that's really gonna like trouble Nunes specifically at all. I don't think anything Nunes. Anything Spencer does, Nunes can't handle. A lot of them, to me, be predicated on Nunes gassing, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, like, I think Spencer's probably gonna have to like do a lot of forcing clinch exchanges, eating a lot of punches. I would probably like tell her like stay in the pocket. Not, I don't. Okay, that's kind of dangerous. Yeah. But like force action. That way you can gas her.
Right.
Because I don't. My prediction overall is I think Nunes is gonna finish her in the first 3 rounds. Probably second round, beat her up for the time being, and then finish her in the second round. But like, Spencer's tough, and if she can survive and gas Nunes out, she has avenues to victory because she's a good top player. She can put shots together on top. She's big. She can grapple pretty well. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I don't really think Spencer has much of a shot at this fight. Like she's just outmatched.
I have a question. It's been I recall in her fight with Cyborg, for one, her just eating a bunch of thudding shots to the head and kind of smiling coming forward. But didn't she pin Cyborg against the fence several times that Cyborg was forced to pummel underhooks and spread her base and defend the takedowns? Or was that more open space clinch fighting? I don't remember.
I haven't seen the Cyborg fight since it happened. But from picturing Cyborg, I'm assuming that she got pinned against the cage a lot because Cyborg does get pinned against the cage a reasonable amount. So if Spencer can do that to Nunes, that'd be pretty reasonable. But I don't really see Nunes get pinned against the cage. Like Nunes is an active mover. She tries to angle out. She's super long. She throws straight punches. She hits hard as hell. Like she does smart things. I think it's gonna be hard for Spencer to get to her. And in that meantime, Spencer's just gonna be eating just mean shots from the hardest hitter in the division, I guess. Even though there's like 2 people in the division.
In WMMA, I would say so. Well, here's my thing. Passive victory for Spencer, like you said, she can make Nunes work and survive an early onset. I think she's gonna get finished, to be honest with you. But I think she is. Yeah, I think she is. But I think she'll make it out of round 1. I mean,
she's tough. She's tough enough to do that. Yeah, I agree.
But how sick would it be if she did win? But because that would be such a meme. But
I would laugh. I would enjoy it just for the funsies of it.
Oh, for sure. I would celebrate that like crazy. What an upset that would be. But look, okay, here's my thing. Like, for some reason, I feel like if she, I don't know if she's going to be able to. I don't think she'll be able to get her there. Because like you said, Nina's a respectable mover. She doesn't really get caught against the cage very much. And she's a good grappler in her own right. But if Spencer could force her to defend takedowns against the fence just kind of relentlessly, maybe she could tire her out and then put something together. But like you said, I don't really see very many clear paths to victory. I'm not really familiar with her game. I just remember her taking a lot of damage against Chris Cyborg, coming forward and attempting to take Cyborg down and having Cyborg on the defensive in those exchanges, a lot, but having to eat a lot of power to get in. Like she doesn't close the distance particularly safely. You know what I'm saying? I might be thinking of the Kunitskaya fight. I don't remember. Honestly, this is my memory with WMMA is obviously very, very poor. Very. I don't put a lot of effort into it. Oh my god. No. But
no, yeah, huh?
I think we can move on from that. So yeah, next fight on the card is a Sunsao Cody Garbrandt, or is it Corey Sanhagen?
A Sunsao Cody Garbrandt is a co-main, which I don't really know if I agree with, but it's still a darn good fight. So, so I'll get into that as well. Like I am one of the biggest Sunsao marks on the planet. I love me some Rafael Sunsao.
I know you do.
And before I get into the matchup, I'll say I'm picking Cody Garbrandt, but only to protect my heart, because I think a Sunsao in general and overall would be a really sneaky, terrible matchup for Cody, to the average person. Yeah. Horrible matchup for Cody. But I'm assuming a Sansao's old, and I'm assuming that he can't take Cody's power and speed. That's the only reason I'm picking Cody. But I'm gonna get into the matchup of why a Sunsao is bad for Cody. Now everybody knows Cody can be super reckless in the pocket and throw stupid right hands and get countered. And Sunsao is great at countering people who throw stupid stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But like just in like the general dynamic, like a Sunsao doesn't really have problem with like lower volume, like strikers. Like I'm not gonna say Cody's not lower volume. He works at a good, reasonable pace. But Cody isn't like a mix-up threat like TJ and Corey Sandhagen are.
Yeah.
Those guys put up a lot of volume, switch stands, angle off, take hard pivots, move off to the side, another mix up another strike. It's just a lot of things that Hot Fighters sometimes has to like deal with to comprehend and to pick apart. And he just kind of gets pelted away to deal with it. And he's still obviously really good. Like he gave TJ one really tough fight, and another fight that was TJ had to work around and do difficult things with. And Sandhagen, he didn't just blow Assunção out the water. You know what I mean? He just, he had to work hard to win. He had to do a lot of good things to win. Right. Like all of the guys who try to exchange in the pocket with Assunção, who are defensively irresponsible, almost always get cracked hard, countered hard, or like even Assunção's a really good leader. He can lead with punches well. He can close distance well with his strikes. He kicks well at range. Assunção's just really good and well rounded. So like if Cody is biting on Assunção's feints or biting on Assunção doing certain things, he's gonna be running into big shots. And like me personally, I would love for that to happen. Like, and it's funny too because I want to see Cody do well. Like,
same, yeah, I feel bad for him.
I feel bad. I really do. I feel bad for him. I want to see him do well. So like, and just almost anybody else, I would want Cody to win. Not this fight though. I love me some Assunção. Yeah. But like, I think Assunção in general could do a really, really, really good job of getting Cody to throw at nothing irresponsibly, and using that and countering him off of that.
Right.
And so, like, again, like I said, I think that the dynamic plays heavily into Assunção's favor. But again, I'm gonna assume that Cody's fast and hits hard, and so Assunção will be able to keep up. Just to keep myself sane, happy, breathing, and all that.
Well, I'm gonna actually agree 100% with everything you said because, Assunção is like a really good fighter, like who just hasn't, the stars just haven't aligned for him with regards to matchmaking and stuff to get to. Now it's hella sad that he lost. Yeah, what's up?
I'm sorry to cut you off, Ramon.
No problem.
But there are a lot of championship level guys who don't get titles or don't even get title shots just off of like bad matchmaking or the stars on the line or whatnot. Like if Assunção would have fought Cody in 2016 right after he beat Cruz, he would have beat Cody and he would have been a champion. Yeah. And it would have made him look so much better than he does. Like when Bisping was champion, love me some Bisping. There are like 6 guys who I think could have beat him at middleweight. Like Jacare should have been champion. Who else? Like Kelvin Gastelum would have been champion technically at middleweight. Yoel would have been champion. Like so many guys would have been champion just off of like weird matchmaking. You know what I mean? And a hilarious point, Cody Garbrandt became champion off of lucky good matchmaking. He fought one of his better matchups in the division, got a title really quickly, and like when he has to fight more diverse fighters. He fought. No, I'm talking about for like him fighting Cruz.
Oh, I thought you meant to get the title shot.
No, okay, he had easy matchmaking against, not easy, I'm not gonna say easy, but he had, like matchmaking wasn't too brutal for him to get to the title shot. And then he fought a matchup that was pretty good for him against Cruz, got it and won the title. And like, let's say if he would have had to fight somebody like TJ, that would have been a hard fight for him. He never would have won the title. If he would have had to fight Assunção, if Assunção was a title holder, he would have never got the title, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Right. Like, if he would have tried to fight other different types of styles, he would have had a hard time. If he would have had to fight Pedro Munoz, very clearly, he would have not won the title. Yeah. If he would have had to fight Aljo, I don't think he would have won the title. We'll get into Aljo in a second.
Well, it depends on which Aljo. Like, the most recent
I know, yeah,
Aljo, But I agree with you. Like, yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, like, I'm not saying, obviously, again, like, Cody is not a bad fighter in the slightest bit. But Cody is, like, easily exploitable, and not even in the basic sense of like, oh, he just is dumb and throws hard. He does do that, and that is like super easy to exploit. But Cody has like problems in the pocket in general. Like he can throw like really like arm punchy fast punches. His mechanics are terrible at times. Sometimes he doesn't move his feet well when he's throwing in combination. Yeah. He's really bad at range with kicks. He doesn't like kicks coming at him. It looks like to me, like. And like all that type of stuff, man, Assunção can work around that. Like if the Assunção that fought Moraes the first time, he can handle that. He can handle all that pretty easy. You know what I mean? I'm just assuming that Cody's gonna be fast, hit him hard, knock him out. I'm gonna cry a little bit, but it's not gonna be that bad. Well, if I pull for Assunção, and if I say he's gonna win and he loses, it's gonna be way worse. So that's why I'm going for Cody.
Well,
but Assunção, this is a matchup for him.
Like I was gonna say, this might just be a good thing for Assunção because great counter puncher, right? But like he's not a finisher really. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's part of the reason why he's not one of the like bigger names in that division as far as people's awareness is concerned, because he's like a very consistent winner. But decision. Yeah,
he just boring. To me, it's not boring. Yeah, he just kind of like wins clearly. Doesn't like really hurt. He'll like hurt somebody once a fight, but like it got to be that. He'll win. He don't fight at a high pace.
He's better than people.
Another reason. Yeah, he just better than just kind of like stalls it out. And like Assunção seems like a cool guy. Like like I said, as his like number one fan, like he's a cool guy, man. He's super smart. From what it seems like. Also, he speaks English super well. Like I know it's like a random thing to talk about. Yeah. He speaks English super well, man. Like he seemed like a really smart and like nice guy. He works hard. He got a little family and all that. Like Assunção is just so cool. It is a shame that nobody knows or cares about who he is.
He's kind of like
to me,
a John Gray almost. Like they kept throwing him to people until he lost, and then he like, no more time.
Like to me, Assunção, yeah, he's the most underrated fighter I think I've probably ever seen. Like, well, close up there at least. Like, especially the most underrated fighter now, or especially in his prime. Like, Assunção was so good, it's ridiculous, man.
I agree.
And like, nobody cares.
I agree. Well, I think
like this fight is a setup for him. Like, I'm pretty sure the UFC is thinking like, oh yes, man, Assunção's a respectable ranking guy that Cody can just knock out, and it's a good fight for him. It's a good resume fight for him. You know what I mean? A really good resume fight for him. And like, I hope it blows up in their face. I hope Assunção hits him with something, hurts him, and just. You know what? I hope he hits him with something, hurts him, and he stalls out, and then not stalls out, but like wins the rest of the fight handily and just clearly beats Cody, not by a knockout, just to show Assunção is good, Cody is flawed. You know what I mean?
Sure, but I was going like not Tony. I'm so sorry. Cody is just the type of reckless fighter to come forward, especially when he's frustrated, and just throw caution to the wind and spam hooks. And that is something that Assunção might be able to capitalize on, not just with his own power, but with the combination of his power thudding against a headfirst Garbrandt running and punches. So it actually might be it could a win for either of these people would do a lot for both of them. You know what I'm saying? Like if Assunção wins, he's going to be the finisher who beat that guy who used to be champion. All of a sudden, it's going to put him more into a limelight. If Cody wins, it's a good comeback fight for him. He beat a seasoned veteran who has a good resume, and it's a good way for him to step back into the game. I'm rooting for Assunção, but I used to like when Cody was fighting Dillashaw, I hated Cody. I was so pleased to watch him get out because he's such a meathead. He's really like he would just repeat things Dominic Cruz said when he got confused. You know what I'm saying? It was like watching. I don't want to. I mean, he seemed like really dumb. You know what I mean? But how sad and absolutely heart wrenching would it be if he had that, like he peaked at that performance with Dominic. He just
I know 4 losses in a row. Yes, I know 4 losses. That would be so sad. That's the thing, man. I would feel terrible if Cody loses. This fight's gonna be sad, but kind of no matter how you slice it. Because if Cody loses, that's 4 in a row.
Especially if he gets fucked up. That would be really bad.
I know 4 in a row, man. It's like, woo!
The right hook.
I know, man.
But
I know, man. It's so sad. And then if Assunção loses, it's sad because they use him as bait to get Cody a name and back in the title picture. Just because, like I said, it's co-main event because like I'm assuming they think Cody's gonna win. They can push him back into the title race.
Best case scenario. Either of them wins, but it's a fight of the night competitive scrap, and both of them gain mad respect. Best case scenario. That's what I see. Like, if you're a fan of them both, which I am now at this point, I would love to see them have, like, an awesome fucking fight where the fans just can't pick it. Like a Stephan Bonner, Forrest Griffin thing where one of them wins, but it doesn't matter because it was such a good fight. Because then both of them are put back into, like, a position of praise by the public, and, yeah. Anyway, you want to move on to the next fight? What's your prediction? What's your prediction? Oh, we both picked Garbrandt by stoppage.
Yes, I'm picking Cody by stoppage, but it's not a real pick like that. But I'm picking that by stoppage. Yes.
I'm gonna err on the side of caution and agree with you, right? I don't have any more time to think about it, so I'll just go through there. So the next one is
we'll go on to the true main event of the evening.
Yes, sir.
The real main event of the evening.
Sandhagen,
Aljamain Sterling, and Corey Sandhagen. And this fight is fire. It is an absolute crime against humanity that this fight is not 5 rounds. Right. This is a championship level fight right here. It's ridiculous that this fight for one isn't even the co-main. This fight should be 5 rounds. It's so darn good. It's ridiculous, man. You could argue, I wouldn't agree, but you could argue that these are the 2 best bantamweights, or one of the best bantamweight fights you could ever make in the UFC right now.
Petr Yan
and this fight,
and these 2.
Yeah, this fight right here is super hard for me to pick, man. Like,
Same.
I'm a big Aljo fan. I love me some Aljo. I really like me Corey as well. Corey is really cool. And it's really hard for me to pick. So I think the dynamic of the fight to me is going to have to be predicated on Sterling initiating grappling. And Sterling has done a lot of work getting comfort in the pocket, throwing in combinations, countering people, moving his head, things like that. It's a little sloppy, it's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But Aljamain has done a lot of work just becoming a better, more rounded fighter. I think a big portion of his game is going to have to be using his strikes to press Corey into the clinch and back him up so he can grapple him. Like, Corey's a really good grappler. I think Corey's a darn fine grappler. But I think Aljamain, to me, is the best grappler in the division. I think Aljamain as a pure grappler is really good. As a wrestler, he's a little bit lacking, to be honest with you. Not say lacking, he's a good wrestler. But, like, he's not the best wrestler in the division. He's not going to take you down off the feet every time he shoots.
Right.
But I think Aljamain's gonna have to blend his striking into his shot setups at the very least to push him back to grind him and all that things. And I haven't really seen Aljamain really do anything like that, like, consistently. Like, if Aljamain was more like Usman, I'd feel more comfortable. But he's not more like Usman, and I'm kind of scared about him at range because he can keep himself safe now. He's not just like a lost cause in the pocket or when you can crowd him. He's not just completely like uncomfortable and defensively like just vulnerable.
Right.
But Corey works at a high pace, puts punches together really well. He's a great offensive striker, puts shots together really well. So Sterling's gonna have to use his game to build Corey into grappling exchanges.
Exactly.
And I think if Sterling can put Corey in grappling exchanges, he's gonna win that fight. Corey is more than fine. Corey can keep himself safe on the ground, but I think Aljamain is I think he's the best grappler in the division. He'll be riding Corey out, working with him, scrambling with him. He can keep up with Corey, to me, in all the grappling exchanges.
Enough to win the round. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think the main critical point of Sterling to win this fight, and that's why I'm picking him, is I think he'll be able to flow his striking into grappling. And I know it's really dangerous to pick people who haven't really like done things like that. Like, I haven't really seen him do that, and I'm kind of nervous. But in his Jimmy Rivera fight, he was aggressive as hell. Pushed Jimmy Rivera against the cage consistently, and made him work and set the tone of the fight.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to do that against Sandhagen, because Sandhagen is a guy who, tough as hell, will set the tone. Like, it doesn't matter to him. He's gonna fight his pace no matter what. He's gonna do what he does no matter what.
Right.
So if Aljamain can set the tone of the fight immediately, it might not dissuade Corey in Corey's sense, but it'll allow Aljamain to fight in spots that he's comfortable in. Because if he just kind of sits at range and kicks at Corey's going to be able to put shots on him, make things difficult for him. It's going to be hard for him to work back into the fight if Corey has the advantage.
Right.
So Aljamain's going to have to be really, really aggressive in his ability to press, Sterling back, to press Sandhagen back. Not even just with clinch or just with strikes, because Sandhagen is a little bit sloppy on the back foot. He backs to the cage kind of in straight lines, and it's going to help him get to his places. Like I say, and like that's the areas that Aljamain's going to have to win. So I looked at it from Aljo's standpoint, because I think he's going to win. I'm assuming he's going to do that, but it's a darn hard fight for him. Because Corey is really good. Corey will fight everywhere, fight at a pace, and Corey's very dangerous.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on my prediction.
Okay, that's good.
I actually look. Okay, my allegiance lies more with Aljamain Sterling because I really like his camp. I really like. I fucking love those motherfuckers from what's the Sarah Longo.
Mark Henry.
I'm
tripping. Yeah, that's right. No, he is. I'm tripping.
Yeah.
No, he was here. Yeah, I'm tripping.
And you can hear Matt Sterling go, "Come on, Aljo!" Like, he's just screaming in the corner. I love it. But and if he did win, he's been in this game for longer. Whereas Sandhagen has he has a few fights, like 5 fights in the UFC. He has more time to grow, and he's relatively like not newcomer per se, but he's just now getting into the public eye, and he'll be back. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna have to think. Yes, Sandhagen can, especially when pressured by a really straight hit, not straight hit, but someone who's pressuring quickly toward him. He will back up into a straight line, but generally he has pretty good cage awareness.
No, he does. Like you can hear when Corey speaks. Like Corey to me is a really smart fighter, man. I love to see that. Like Corey understands
like a less self-unaware Dominic Cruz. Like when he talks.
Dude, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm going to say something like Dominic Cruz. But no, yes, Corey's a super smart fighter, man. I'm pretty sure he knows all these dynamics and all that. That's why I love this fight. This fight's going to be awesome. But yeah, Corey's a smart guy. He has defense built into his movement.
Absolutely.
He puts shots together excellently. He's a competent fighter everywhere. He, again, like I say, he always tries to angle off. He is very cagey where he doesn't. You have to catch him by surprise to push him against the cage. You know what I mean? You have to burst like, oh snap! I didn't have time to think about my emotions.
We have to work also into strikes, like strike, shoot.
Yes, you know what I mean. Yeah. Like if you're just out there fighting at range with Corey, he's gonna be feel comfortable. He's gonna move around. Unless you're a really good striker, he's gonna pelt you up, put shots in you, work the body, work the head, work the legs. Like he's gonna do a lot of things for you. But yeah, like I said, like I said, Corey's really smart. Go ahead about your pick.
I agree with everything you're saying. I see. And by the way, if any of you guys want like a crash course on Corey Sandhagen, Jack Slack did a really good. You know how he does his filthy casuals guides. He's got like 12-minute piece on some of the stuff he does. But okay, here's the thing. I do think if Sterling gets him down, he will be able to, because you said he's really scrambly, and one of the way he creates lots of scrambles is utilizing the Kimura trap. I remember I was at Henry Gracie's Sugarland, and there's this guy who made a point to dress and do his hair like Gordon Ryan. There's a blue belt, and I hated that. But I was really, I shot for a single leg. I had the single, and I changed levels as I was coming up with it, and no one had ever done this to me before. It was the first time I became aware of its efficacy in combat sports. But he grabbed the double wrist lock on the outside arm, the leg my arm that was on the outside of his leg, and he spun me over with it, and he spun me into into my back. Corey Sandhagen does utilize that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? That's where he can create sort of a scrambly series of exchanges. Did he armbar someone like that in
yeah.
Right, and so I think but so that's how you will create scramble. But I don't think Aljamain Sterling is going to be confused by that. I think it'll be like when you see people trying to hit a switch, right? Or when you'll Granby. Like to me, good top players are not going to be confused by those types of movements and maneuvers, right? Like they're not going to land on their back. They're going to keep good balance, land on top, land in good base, and then re-attack you the moment that they've stabilized, which will be very, very, very rapidly after the movement occurs.
For example, like their base will be good enough to where you can't even do it. Like when Corey would try to hit those switches on Khabib, he didn't even really get.
But that's what I'm saying. Like exactly. Like he's going to land in base. Like Khabib, it did turn Khabib, but he had his hands locked and it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. In any case, what I think, if he has repeated success taking Sandhagen down, and since Sandhagen can't use the double wrist lock sweep to create a scramble and immediately utilize that space to get back up, I think what's going to happen, if Sandhagen can't do that, I will give it to Aljamain Sterling, assuming, like you said, he can put shots together into takedowns. I don't think I've seen him do before, to be honest with you, but we'll have to see. What I do think is going to happen, to finally get to it, is Sandhagen using his footwork, using his switch steps to create dominant angles, right, and his feint to create dominant angles, and just sort of pick a frustrated Aljamain Sterling apart from range. When Pedro Munoz fought him, you could see that his striking had come in leaps and bounds since he first came into the UFC with like his arm punch stuff. But Pedro Munoz is a slow fighter who plodded forward for a lot of that fight, and Aljamain Sterling was allowed to get lots of like low level, like low lying attacks off on Munoz, and also like I was watching, he would like throw into single hook shots. You know what I'm saying? And they landed, and he was sort of having his way with Munoz as he was able to get more creative. But I see Sandhagen as being always able to get the shots off without taking damage, maybe for the whole fight, and frustrating Aljamain Sterling's attempts. That's what I think will happen. It's not what I hope happens.
And that's another reason why this fight is so awesome, because like
agreed.
It's the dynamics of it, man, are just like you're not sure of it. You know what I mean? Like the fight's just gonna be really good, man. Like this is the true main event. Should be 5 rounds. Arguably should be for a title. This fight is just awesome, and whoever wins this should get the title shot, like 100%. Like whoever wins this should fight the Aldo Yan winner.
Agreed.
100%, man.
Honestly,
oh man,
that Aldo Yan fight shouldn't even be happening. That Aldo Yan fight.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah, like
it should be the winner of this fight, Petr Yan. What the fuck are they throwing Aldo in? He just lost his last fight. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, this is dumb. But if I would be the winner of this fight, the winner of that fight, and then the loser of this fights the winner of Garbrandt Asuncao. That's what I would do. But yeah, so my official prediction, not what I want to happen. If I got what I wanted, I would get Aljamain Sterling wins. However, my official prediction though is going to be Corey Sandhagen wins unanimous decision. You pick Aljamain Sterling winning in unanimous decision?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. We'll see.
No, I pick Sterling winning by split decision.
Oh my god, that's so annoying. Yeah. You ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
You know what, at the comment what you just said, I get really annoyed when people are like, I thought it was a split decision. It's like, how? You're one person.
I know it's impossible. Like, I know exactly.
You're one person. Did you split yourself in half? Do you have dissociative identity disorder? Like, did you and then your other fucking identity come out and be like, I thought, no, that's not how this works.
I know
you
exactly.
You can predict the split decision. Like with most WMMA fights, you can predict that a split decision will happen, but it doesn't mean you can have a split decision. I see what you did there. Anyway, let's move on. Like I said to Theo, what's the next one we're going to review?
Wineland O'Malley.
Yeah, that's a fun one. What are your thoughts on that?
Like I think this I like this matchup because I think O'Malley's gonna win it. It's a good little showcase fight for him because Wineland's a good guy. He's from Houston, so we gotta respect it. Wineland's a really solid fighter, solid boxer, puts punches together well, hits hard.
Good right hand.
But I don't really think I don't think he has much anything for O'Malley at the moment. Wineland's he's older. He's looking more fragile. O'Malley's like surging right now. This should be a good showcase fight for O'Malley. I wouldn't be surprised if Wineland made it to the end, but I think Wineland's probably going to get finished.
I agree.
Just because O'Malley, O'Malley's going to be so aggressive and so diverse, consistently attacking Wineland. But like, I want to see O'Malley starting to work his way up the bantamweight rankings. I don't right now have the best read on his game. To me, because he's fought such low level competition. I don't really know what he's actually good at and what he actually does. I mean, I know I can see what he does. But like, if he like his last fight, he just ran over that dude. So like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like you can't really take much from that. He just ran over that guy. I think this fight will actually. The reason I'm happy about this fight is I think it'll show us stuff about O'Malley. Some stuff he's bad at, some stuff he's good at. You know what I mean? Something that'll like we can like play some parameters on him.
Yeah.
Because Wine is the type of guy to show like, okay, can you handle somebody who is powerful? Can you handle somebody who can jab at you? If Wine might even wrestle a little bit, he'd be like, okay, let me shoot on him a little bit because Wine is capable of doing that. He might shoot on O'Malley a little bit. Can you defend some shots? How do you like being put in the clinch? Just little things like that. This is a good fight in general because I think it's gonna be a learning fight, and I really like learning fights, especially for like newer guys on the come up. Learning fights are always really good to understand who they are, what they are, how can they handle the division, and all that. And if O'Malley can like run through Wineland over time, that's a good sign. That's a really good sign.
Yeah.
I think he'll win. I think he'll win kind of convincingly. Mm-hmm. But we'll learn some stuff throughout the fight.
I think he'll win convincingly too, but I do think Wineland will. Well, okay, one or two things will happen. Either Wineland's going to come out, just looking like a veteran, and then O'Malley's going to finish him very quickly. And we're not going to learn anything. Like, it could be the case that, you remember McGregor versus Diego Brandao, where he threw that? It was a very quick finish. He threw the capoeira, like, wheel kick or whatever they call it, the spinning one where the heel comes, the bottle cap challenge kick, whatever it was. And the heel landed on the side of Brandao's head, and then from there the fight was over. It might be something like that, where he comes out and uses speed, surprise, and athleticism to just cold cock him. That's just one of the visions I have for this fight. Or if that doesn't happen and there's not a finish 2.5 or so minutes into round one, what I think will happen is, like you said, I do believe that O'Malley will win convincingly, but it will be a learning fight. And what I'm expecting to see is vulnerabilities in his game expose themselves that have not yet exposed themselves to us in his other fights. Like, maybe he gets clocked with a hard overhand right as he runs, comes in trying to do flashy things with his hands down because he thinks he has the liberty to do so off of earlier success or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of his fights right now, I think his last one in particular, were like, and if you watch his Tuesday Night Contender stuff, flashy stuff, kicks, hands down type of thing, but really just like a pullback counter. You know, like that's like his moneymaker there is his counter straight punches. You know what I mean? And who knows? Maybe this time, I think what happens is he gets away with some of that stuff at first, and you know he tries to disrespect Wineland's power, and then he gets clocked, and then this puts him on his game. And now we'll see. Oh, okay, so he can be hit. He is vulnerable to those shots. You know, maybe like a McGregor Chad Mendes situation where an overhand catches him, because Wineland does have a hard right hand, and he's a respectable boxer, like you said. He's no slouch. He's on the downward slope, just given his age and amount of time in the sport. But I think we'll find out. Okay, this is a good matchup for O'Malley. This is a bad matchup for O'Malley. X, Y, and Z. You know, like you said, it's a learning fight. So I agree with you. I'm going to go with most likely a decision win for O'Malley, where he does get tested a little bit, but figures that out pretty quickly, takes a more cautious approach after that happens, and then gets the dominant win in round 3. Maybe a finish in round 3, but probably a unanimous decision. What about you?
No, yeah, I say about the same.
Okay. So the last fight we really wanted to address was Chase Hooper versus Alex Caceres, and this is sort of a meme.
Yeah, we like it. It's funny.
Analysis. So I'm gonna put a picture up right now because I have a hat on, and I'm not gonna take it off because it's gonna be all flat hair, so you'll be able to tell. But I've been told, and I agree, that at some phases of my life where I was a much thinner man, I resembled Chase Hooper.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, when my hair is not flat, because I actually have curly hair, but right now the hat thins it out. I have like a big afro. I'll put a photo up. But as ironic as it may be, I actually am not a Chase Hooper fan, like at all. Like I didn't get into this with Treyvon. I didn't put in a thing because we just wanted to start recording. But I find myself really frustrated that people like that can get into the UFC, right? Because he's clearly a very talented grappler, but we don't know like how well that's going to hold up against people better than Daniel Tamer or whoever he fought. He fought you know what I'm saying? And he cannot strike to save his life. He like throws a bunch of blind kicks, like gets countered so hard on one leg. He takes so much punishment. Whoever the Asian or Hawaiian, I can't recall, guy was that put a beating on him for like a round and a half in Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, that guy was a better fighter than Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper was just tougher and outlasted him, right? But Chase Hooper's whole game is to like throw meme kicks, get hit really hard, eventually grab a hold of you, and then implement grappling, which he's good at. You know what I'm saying? He's a good. I mean, he doesn't even have good wrestling. I think I saw him do like a single leg that was really like just poorly executed and that he fell over on or something. But my prediction for this fight is he's going to get a hold of Alex Caceres and Crone Gracie him. Alex Caceres seems to be the scapegoat guy they handle the grapplers with shitty stand up to now, right? Like Crone Gracie jumped on his back and finished him with a rear naked choke really quickly, and then Crone Gracie like had no stand up in his next fight. That's kind of what I see Chase Hooper going to win this.
It's funny because I actually don't agree. I mean, I agree with the meme parts and the Chase Hooper being really defensively exploitable. But I think Caceres like can fight a smart fight in this fight. Like I think Chase Hooper looks like a good grappler, but I think Caceres can just pin him at range and hurt him a little bit. I think Caceres himself is a respectable grappler. I think he can keep himself safe. When Caceres works smartly, he can be pretty reasonably well, and I'm assuming he can. And like, Chase Hooper to me doesn't seem like the type of guy. Okay, Chase Hooper very much could be Alex Caceres because Alex Caceres is also a meme fighter, and Caceres at one point was the Chase Hooper of his day, which is funny. I love that. That's why I love this fight.
It's all the big hair
guys. I think Alex. Yeah. Like really tall, skinny, came in the game super young.
Yeah, afro.
Really tough. I know really tough grapplers, lanky grappler guys. Like, it's really funny. I think Caceres. I mean, I think Caceres could do a good job of just kind of keeping Hooper away from him, denying him anything, and just kind of beating him up. But again, like I said, it's Alex Caceres. Alex Caceres is like just as unreliable as like anybody could be, man. Like it's funny.
Like a 20-year-old car with 300,000 miles on it. You never know if the thing's gonna take you to where you're going, right? Well, when you watch him fight Cole Miller,
he fought good.
Yeah, he came in and impressed the fuck out of everybody. I was like, oh shit, he actually did good work in that fight. I thought Cole Miller was gonna submit him, but look, I can't trust Alex Caceres to put on a smart fight because I don't think he will. I think he's gonna throw a bunch of stupid kicks and just get grabbed. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna. I think Daniel. Is it Daniel Tamer or David's the older or the larger one?
Okay, yeah, I gotta say, I don't know who's the good one. He beat the good one is a lightweight, and the bad one he fought Chase Hooper.
So I think David Tamer is the good one, the one who said, "Hey, watch your underwears," something like that.
And, I think that's the good. Yeah, I think he's the good one. I think Daniel's the bad one.
Yeah. Okay, so Daniel Tamer. He, I think, is going to do a better job of damaging. Did he land strikes early on against Chase Hooper? I think he's going to do.
Yeah, okay. Also, Daniel, he fought. I don't want to be mean, but he fought a horrific fight. Yeah, dude, my goodness, man. Like, he just fought terrible. Another sibling fighting a bad fight when the other siblings generally fight good fights.
Yeah.
Daniel, I believe, just landing death on Chase Hooper, and then he continued to grapple with him, and he didn't need to gas himself out.
Him in like a Doris and just wouldn't let go. Let him go, move. He can't. You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous. Yeah, and then also Daniel's like 5'5", I think, and Chase Hooper's like 6'1".
He's humongous. So he's so tall.
He's so tall. So just tall and lanky, just like nothing else but like length. But yeah, like that fight was so weird, man. It's hilarious. Like this fight is gonna be funny. That's what we're talking about. It's gonna be funny.
It is.
Almost no matter what. It cannot be funny. Like
it cannot.
This fight's gonna be. It cannot not be funny. Yeah, this fight's gonna be hilarious. But yeah, I think like Daniel was piecing him up and like.
Early on.
And like I think Caceres could do the exact same. To be honest with you, like.
Can, but I don't think he will.
Because even if Caceres wins, right, he's gonna do something weird and goofy and stupid and like look bad in a spot.
Spin kick or something.
I know, right? Yeah, and then like Chase Hooper's gonna like waddle after him and like get hit with something big, but then like roll into like a knee bar or something. He's like, oh, so that was kind of close. So I just see some funny stuff happen, man.
Okay.
Everything about it's gonna be fun.
3 things. 1, however this fight goes, it will be a scathing indictment on the level of fighter in MMA. It's like you can watch Robert Whittaker or Miro and think that was one of the most technical fights you've ever seen, one of the best examples of MMA you've ever seen, and then you're going to watch Chase Hooper versus Alex Caceres and think, is this really the major league? But I'm obviously not a fan of, like, I've said for a long time, we disagree on this because we've talked about it before, but I think Alex Caceres belongs in like PFL. I think Chase Hooper should still be a regional fighter until he gets better. I understand why they're there. I understand Alex Caceres is a gatekeeper and they need him, and he can put on respectable performances when he gathers his strategy enough to do so. And I understand that Chase Hooper is someone with a decent personality who has an exciting ability to take punches and submit people, and that whom they're trying to build up. You know, they're not giving him the best in that division. They're not feeding him to difficult fighters yet. They're giving him Alex Caceres and a guy who fought him like an idiot. But my serious prediction is that Chase Hooper. That Alex Caceres does something dumb, like throw a very loopy, wide round kick, get grabbed, and then Chase Hooper will either take him down or jump on his back and submit him. Like, it'll be a very quick submission. They'll both still be dry or damp. My Mma prediction is that Alex Caceres actually does do something smart in one of his fights by keeping him at range with long punches, maybe low line kicks, gets retarded, throws a spinning capoeira wheel kick, falls over. Chase Hooper takes this opportunity after being battered for like 2.5 minutes to jump on his back and finish him with the rear naked choke. That's what I think happens. I think if this fight is, like, my hilarious Mma prediction will be that Alex Caceres commits fight, I don't want to use suicide, like, what's the word? He fucks the fight up so badly for himself by just doing something dumb, like Max Holloway winning against Poirier in their first fight and then throwing a flying knee and getting himself taken down. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think happened. I think he ruins it for himself. But or
like the Weidman wheel kick against Rockhold.
Perfect. But it's going to be even worse. He's going to be winning. He's going to be doing the right thing. He's going to make a big smile on his face. And he's going to throw like a turning jump crescent kick, like the one where you spin in the air. The Ryan Hall thing against not Ryan Hall. I'm so sorry. Uriah Hall against Bobby Knuckles, where he threw like a thing and then fell over. He like threw a spinning sequence into like a hook kick, landed on his neck, and then he fell down. It's going to be something dumb like that. But we'll see, man. We'll see. I like the name though, Bruce Leroy. That was a good ass fucking reference. I love it. But yeah, so those are my 2 predictions. You?
Caceres by decision, but it's gonna be funny though. So
yeah, well, I'm excited for it. I have to like pretend stand Hooper until I shave my head again, right? Like until I shave my head again, like it was when I looked like a white supremacist. Back when I was completely bald. You remember that? I would show up to UHBCJ with just buzzed hair and a tattoo, and then that guy came up and said I looked like a prisoner. Until I look like that again, I gotta stand this guy as like my thinner lookalike.
I don't know. I don't know what fighter looks the most like me. I guess I have to like think about it over time. But that's funny that they look like that. You said that they say you look like Chase Hooper.
So I'm excited as hell for this card. What about you?
Now the card, I'm happy for it. It's a good card. The main event is underwhelming.
It is.
But other than that, all these bantamweight fights and featherweight 2 fighting at bantamweight is gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a good fight card. And even the bigger guys, man, they're matched up pretty well. This card is matched up pretty well, to be honest with you.
It's gonna be fun, man. I think it's gonna be an exciting fight. Like Stamen, Kelleher, Heinisch, Mearshart is gonna be interesting grappling stuff. We have the funny.
We didn't talk about Magny and Martin. Yeah, that's a good fight as well. But yeah, that's a pretty solid fight as well. So
yeah, but I mean, I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna enjoy tomorrow. So it's not gonna be like last week where we had a bunch of boring fights and then the main event. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. I want to make one more comment. I am really hopeful that some of these fighters get on and use their platform to make some comment in support of the BLM movement and all the productive things that they're doing to help. And also just rest in peace to George Floyd and thoughts and prayers for his family. If these guys can get up and say something, I think that'd be great. You know what I mean? And, excellent. So yeah, that's it from us. It's been great, guys. Thanks for watching. See you later.